$5 gift card out. Just talking.
Oh,
So about
fun.
Legion.
One time I got this email from this like I probably have stuff in my phone.
But I know we need yogurt.
It's like peanut butter too, so it's like sticky.
Do you order that or do you make that?
I ordered it somewhere.
Okay. How much does that cost you?
I was like $11. There's like 32 grams of protein. So that's why I chose that one.
We go to Costco and there's like a whole plain yogurt, a white. Do you eat plain yogurt?
I don't like plain yogurt. I'm weird with yogurt. This is like a smoothie bowl.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
But you can mix anything in there and make it on. So what we do is we do the plain, and then we'll put fruit in it, like banana or strawberry, and then we'll put granola and honey. So that's kind of like a sandwich.
Yeah, that's fun. But,
Anyway, so sorry.
Oh, I was asked to like review the software that I use for my old job. I got this random email. I'm like, oh, I've used that before. Like, let me just review it. I got a $25 gift card to a place of my choice. Basically, they had like different options just for reviewing it. I was like, how much money can I get from this?
I have a friend that does it a lot, actually. And she's in Raleigh, and she's stinking rich. But she's always looking for ways to kind of work around.
Mm-hmm.
Sketch, because she wouldn't give me his name and she wouldn't give me his information, and she was going to line it up. Pull it up. Oh, so this is can we have what I'm going to tell them on here, or is this what they see?
This is what is on the TV.
Okay, so I need to pull up my version.
You can pull it up on your computer. I also want to print it out.
Yeah, pulling it up.
And here is like a clicker.
Okay.
You're already able to slides. This don't have to touch.
Oh, hi.
Why is this?
Don't say that. Probably do we have to go to the MVP? Our mission.
This is plugged in?
Yes.
What's this connected to? Yeah. That's what I didn't know if she.
I got a cool. This is my first time.
I love it. It's great. It'll be fine. Don't know where to switch it from. What's this? That's so nice. Oh, boyfriend. Here, put the mouse back in. Where does this go?
Which one? Where do you go? The one over there?
Well, I don't want to. Trees are.
Yeah.
This whiteboard go to? The keyboard.
If you come early, you get the.
Yeah.
got the one I want now.
Jeez. There we go. I don't know where it was. I think because it was on the Zoom, not on the actual slides. Okay. The clicker's working. Yay! So you can click your little heart away. This there's back.
You
Do
have
what?
long fingernails?
What do you want me to put? Where? What do you want me to do? Where the mouse is plugged in? Oh.
You're all set?
Zoom is on?
They're not recording me all that.
It's okay. It's just YouTube. No one's on the Zoom. No one's on the Zoom too. So no one will be on the Zoom. Never mind, no one is recording you.
Oh, really? Good. Then I feel better. It was busy. I just have been running. I went over to the house in Anderson Township, got the water mediator out there, which that actually was great news. But I reached out to the listing agent to say, she's like, oh, well, we'll just do it. It's just going to be sprayed and painted. I said, well, who are you going to have do it? Because we want a professional to do it. Oh, my husband's going to do it. And I'm like, well, I think the Patterson goes for that because that's a conflict of interest. Like, you can't, you know. So I sent her a quote this morning. She's one of those agents that kind of like when you try to talk, she talks over you and she's just loud and a million miles an hour. And it's a great house. My buyer said yesterday, what she did was she first said, hey, we can have our mold guy do it, or we can give them an offer if they want to have their guy do it. So I gave her that offer from the listing agent. Yeah. And then my buyer came back and said, my guy is good, sure. Yeah. Which makes sense. So I have to talk to Susan about that, because it's not like, it's just, it's going to be sprayed down, treated. But this guy's a professional, and we would rather use a professional.
Well, professional, when you're buying a house, you can come back to them. And
Right.
They warranty it.
Well,
et cetera.
and I swear this guy is, if anybody needs a mold remediation guy, he is phenomenal. His name is, and I found him by chance online. And I was like, maybe this is a God thing because I'd called many people. His name is Brett. Brett, why can't I ever get his name right? I will. He was Johnny on the spot. I mean, literally said I could meet you there tomorrow. And he came in without hooey.
Right, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like sometimes everybody's out to get more to sell you something, really. And he wasn't that way at all. And then I said, you know, we really could use an affiliate in our office.
Yeah.
As a mold remediator, because we don't have one. And I don't know if you'd be open to that, but then he told me his whole story of how he got into it. And his story is great. And just kind of guy that you, Brett Albert is his name. He's with 12 Stones. I'll send you his contact.
Yeah.
Just so super, super nice. Really liked him.
I need one because I mean we in all the houses that we've bought and rehab and sold, we have never
That's fantastic.
and we buy
I know.
and we go down to the sheriff's.
Yeah.
Buy sight and see.
Yeah.
And
I want to learn more about that. You need to tell me about
very
that.
different now.
Yeah.
It's online.
Is the land bank, is it the land bank thing?
I must have Googled it, but it's the sheriff's.
I wanna learn about that.
It's at the courthouse.
Yeah,
But now I think since COVID, they do it online, and it used to be where you and you literally bidding
on it.
live,
Yeah,
against the bank or another investor or sheriff would be yelling at you.
yeah,
And all the houses we bought, you have to, that day, when the day, put 5,000 out. And then you have, they have 30 days for the owner to make restitution or pay or whoever, however it's being foreclosed on, it's tax or whatever. And then it's usually 30 days past that. It could be 15. But then 30 days past that, they clear the title. And then you can come down and you can pay for it.
Yeah.
Loans.
right. You gotta have the cash. Yeah,
Cash. They're not financing. They're not taking
financing. Yeah,
and then you get the title like
in your hand. Oh,
And that's how we kind of bought it.
well, I have a friend that bought a property for, it's a 3-family. They bought it for 25,000. And they fixed it up. And I mean, they fixed it up well. They have tenants on all 3 floors.
Yeah.
Paying, I think, close to 2,000 a month, to 2,500 a month. And I mean, it was paid off in a year. You know what I mean? It was like, so it's a cash cow for him.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
That's our rent property. That's what they were.
I guess we'll get started.
Yeah.
So welcome. I consider myself pretty experienced when it comes to open houses, and I guess that's why I was asked to do this. We talked about it some yesterday. And for those who don't know, it's like a great way to capture leads. It takes a little bit of work and it takes a little bit of homework, but outside of that, it's an opportunity to really grow as an agent and to get the kind of lead generation with just your personal effort that you're putting in, really. So with that being said, I want to welcome everybody. It's 2, but we may have more coming in later. It's no big deal. Yeah. I know, maybe he might, and that's okay. It's all good. So I just want to go through the copyright. Hello. Hi, welcome. Have you got the sheet? And I'm seeing, so we're talking about lead generation, generating leads and growing your database. And, this section is capturing leads with open houses. So, when we begin this lead generation segment, it's important for us to find people to work with. And these people are known as our leads. They fuel our business, growth in the present and in the future. And of course, leads are responsible for growth potential and to protect us against market shifts. So if the market changes, when we have a good pool of leads or lead generation, what I call a pipeline, it definitely helps us with the market shift, which we're currently in the throes of. Lead generation plus lead follow-up is our next big segment, and they're really just the fundamentals of real estate. If you're generating leads and you're not following up, you're a hamster on a treadmill, and you're not your business is not going to grow. So without follow-up, if you get a lead and you don't create a follow-up plan for yourself, you're wasting your time, you know. So just gonna go. Something that's important, I think, is to work with an accountability partner too. That helps most of us as agents to support one another, that we set up an accountability system. Like if you just have another agent in the office or somebody that you connect with, that you could say, let's work together. It can be an hour a week, it could be an hour every day, but setting up that accountability also helps you to generate your follow up and generate those leads, keep them moving. Trying to figure out these. So we're going to talk about capturing the leads with the open houses, preparing and prospecting and pursuing them, and then the daily success systems, moving into best practices, recaps, and autos. So that's the agenda. So it's important to generate business from people who, people you know and people who know you. So that's identifying with your sphere of influence. Now, for those like me, I came into Cincinnati, I knew nobody. I really did not know anybody here. And I moved here 6 years ago. So how I developed a sphere of influence was to get plugged into groups and things that, like I joined a dance group. I like to, you know, we have a parade group that we're in. It's a bunch of women. There's like up to 60 of us. And that was how I developed my sphere of influence. So if you say you don't have a sphere of influence, it's something you can absolutely grow. Find something you're into, like if it's into, you know, car mechanics, join a group and attend those meetings and become like the go-to realtor or the go-to person to talk to about real estate. So that's very easy to do. Again, they're saying just categorize your sphere of influence. So you could say this is my sphere of influence in this market for car repair, and this is mine for my dance group, and this is for my, you know, lawn club, and those kinds of things just help you work through people that you can influence. So it's important to apply best practices of lead generation. So to start thinking about what will you learn today, let's consider questions we might have and what we'd like to learn more about. Find a partner and have a 5-minute conversation about the questions and what you'd like to learn more about. Jot notes down in the participation guide so that it stays top of mind. So I guess they're saying, like, I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to just partner up with somebody and sit down and like just write down, you know, what you'd like to learn about. I want to just, William and Kendall and you guys, you two can get together and discuss that. Just 5 minutes. never go without. I never leave the house without it because it always sparks conversation. Wherever I go. And I hear him talking about that too. Yeah, I wear it. I never go without it. Like if I'm going to the grocery store, I've got my name tag on. And you will be surprised because you even forget it's there. And people will look at it and go, oh, you're a realtor. Yeah, here's my business card. Do you have any questions about the market? I'm happy to talk. And it sparks conversation every time. It's something I learned from my previous brokerage and I've never swayed from it. And it's a great source of lead generation because people, when they see you on face value, they don't know who you are or what you do. But this tells them, like, this is my name. I'm with Keller Williams, Seven Hills. And I can't tell you how many times I've had, and not just lead generation as far as your own business, but prospecting. Because if you go out and you're trying to bring somebody new into the brokerage under you as a profit share, that's another way. Like if you're presentable, sometimes I'm a little funny if I don't have, like I'm not well dressed and I'm in flip flops and my hair's a mess, then I won't do it. But if I'm well dressed or presentable and I walk into a store and I see a manager that's doing a good job or I see somebody that's working really hard, I always say, like, I really admire your hard work. Have you ever thought about real estate? And then they don't think you're trying to pull one over on them if you have your badge because they know you're a realtor, So yeah, I never go anywhere without it. And I like this. I've tried different badges. Like I got those originally. Yours didn't do it, but mine like that just kind of started peeling for some reason.
Well, this is like brand new.
Yeah.
So give it.
Yeah, but I never go anywhere without it, and it's a good call. I think I have I'm having those made right now, and this is part of my lead gen too. Is I have a T-shirt that because I walk every morning in my neighborhood, and I have a T-shirt that I'm having made with embroidery on it that just says, "I'm not just your neighbor, I'm also your realtor." And it's like bright red, and everybody's going to see me every morning. They know that I'm walking. So it's a way to lead you, without really doing a lot. So this is something Gary Keller said about our business. And he did say nothing else about your business will have as big an impact as the number of leads you have. And that is so true. Something, I did recently is that I connected with a property management company and there was no payment for my services because I offered to give him some guidance and some insight onto certain things. But in exchange, I said, I would like a list of all the tenants that live in your properties. Sure, no problem. Gave me a spreadsheet with all the tenants that live in that property, got their email numbers, their phone numbers, the emails, their phone numbers, their addresses, their full name. I even have their birthdays on it. So that was like gold to me because I have like 600 names of people that will be potential first-time home buyers in the future. And I use that as part of my lead gen too. Those are people I send information to, like if I have an open house, or, So lead gen, like Gary says, is your number one job. The leads fuel your business and help you reach the goals that you've set for yourself. The more leads you have, the more business and the more success you'll have. Like we said, lead generation includes talking to people about buying and selling real estate, capturing accurate contact information. And I heard you on the phone and I heard you on the phone yesterday. And I was like, you're doing the right thing where you were calling people and saying, hey, I don't know if you know, but I'm a real estate agent right now. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams, and I'm just trying to update my data, and I have this, and this for you as an email and a phone number. Do you have any referrals for me? Like, I know it's scary to do that initially. For some people it is. And I'm not a big phone person. I'm more a one-on-one person. I've got to overcome that. I know I do.
But, you know, doing that kind of lead generation is how the business is. And I heard both of you do it the other day, and I was like, you're on it. So, yeah. And then, of course, when you've got a lead, converting that to an appointment, you know, of course, and this is when you find like active buyers and sellers. So if somebody, you know, has some sort of interest, to like, they have questions about the market. I mean, you could have a casual conversation with them, but you could usually read between the lines if there's more that they're needing. Like, hey, I was looking at a house, da 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 da. Why don't we sit down and make an appointment, which Chase did yesterday and with one of his buyers. Typically, and I told Chase, like, you've got to do it where you're comfortable. Going to like a restaurant or a cafe or meeting somebody for a beer is great because it doesn't speak like you're salesy. But on the other side of that, I always think like when you can bring somebody into the office, it creates a more professional environment, you know, and they walk in and they see like, oh, wow, this is a really great office. You could make it, sit down and have a meeting in the conference room, and that works well too. So, yeah. So this is when we find active buyers and sellers to set an appointment to meet and agree to work together in a buying or selling real estate. That's what an appointment is. So here's some limiting beliefs that we've got to get rid of when we go to open houses. One of them is not to, like, I don't have a listing to hold an open house. I don't know why I'm further ahead. I'm not. Just see where I've got to be as opposed to. Just see, I think yeah, it's just like dispelling like myths and fears about lead generation, where people think like it's really difficult to lead generate. I don't have the time to lead generate. I don't know what to say. I'm afraid of making mistakes. There's answers for all of those. We have scripts that you can follow. You can develop your own scripts. Again, I use, I don't know if anybody is on Pivot Shift Ahead on James Shore. He does a Pivot Shift Ahead. It's every morning from 7:30 to 8:30 on Facebook. It's free of charge. He doesn't charge anything. And you could just sign up for, I listen to it every morning and it's very inspirational, and it's agents from all across the country, really good agents, brand new agents, agents that are, you know, dual career. And those are opportunities too, to talk through, you know, this is what I ran into. How can you can ask questions and people will answer. And it's just a great group to have as a support system. So I definitely look into that. His name is James Shaw, and the group is called Pivot Shift Ahead. It's on Facebook. Just look it up, and you can sign up for it. It doesn't cost anything. Now he has another program called Inspire, which I think is $100 a month. But I don't. Judy Doss is on it. I am not. I feel like I get enough out of the Pivot Shift Ahead group. So it's understandable that there's a lot of fear around the lead generation. And even though we know it's the most important aspect of our business, if we had to be honest with ourselves, who is having any of these thoughts as we dig into lead generation? There's really no pressure. Does anybody have any like hesitancy or fear around it in this group? No? Great. That's good. Where did you have it? Okay. Where was it? The Ultra Port one? Okay. That's fantastic. Now, were those potential leads for, did they have agent representation? Great. Fantastic. That's awesome. I've done an open house there 4 times and only had one person each time. So I'm really happy to hear that. You know, Gary expects people to have like fears around lead generating and following up. I mean, I think with me, when I did a lot of my lead gen on the phone, I guess because I have an accent, people think, oh, well, you've got an accent, everybody will listen to you. Well, with my accent, people think I'm foreign and I'm a scammer, and they throw the phone down in my ear. And I get like, it's hard. It's hard because you're on the phone and you're trying, but they don't always listen. So I've got to overcome that. So I have those fears. I have fears about lead generation on the phone. Do you? Okay, you get hung up. Yeah. I mean, it happens. And what Gary says is you just got to push past that, because the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with that. And you just got to expect that it's going to happen. It's just, it's the law of averages, right?
Is it just because you're calling people you don't know?
Yeah. Yeah. If it's people I know, I'm fine. It's people I don't know that I think people get wary of my accent. Yeah. So yeah, that does definitely happen. Yeah. So so some limiting beliefs that we have is like, I don't have a listing to hold open. So that's limiting beliefs, because we've all held open houses for other agents. What I do typically is like, I will send an email to an agent or somebody that I feel like I work well with. And in that email, I'll state like, hi, this is Kendall. I'm a new agent at Keller Williams. I want to grow my sphere, and I would love an opportunity to hold an open house for you in the future. This is what I do. And then you break down like what you do that sets you apart. I'm not just putting a sign in the yard and going, yeah, I'll be at the open house. If you're going to hold an open house, put the effort in. If you're not going to put the effort in, you're wasting your time. And we'll go into that further, like what that looks like and how to hold a successful open house. I don't have signs yet. I mean, there are, again, that's another limiting belief. I don't have signs yet. When I didn't have signs yet, I had some made. I had those plastic, and I didn't bring examples. When I do my other open house presentation, it's a little bit more, I have examples and stuff, but I had signs made, and it's like a corrugated plastic. Somebody did it for me for a very, very inexpensive amount. And I put those up. I have 20 pointer boards. Now, before I didn't have those, I just door knocked, and that to me was where, on the lead generation side, you're not only bringing people to your open house, but even if those people that you're talking to at those doors before the open house is another source of lead generation that you're getting from your open house without. So it's got a dual duty, right? So yeah, I may not know the answers to the questions visitors have. Well, that means that you probably haven't had the conversation with the agent, and that's important to learn more about the house before you sit in it, and that's part of when I do the open houses. Once they say, okay, I'm going to have you do the open house, like, what do I need to know about the open house? Like UltraCord, I think when I sat in it, they were going to have the appliances or the stove replaced in the kitchen because the one they had in there was really old. So that was a conversation that I had with Sam Marine, who's the listing agent, and I could have that conversation with people who walked in the door. So that's important to know. Another thing, open houses don't really work because most people look online. I mean, people do look online, but I think that there's a lot to be said for seeing a house in person. People don't buy houses online. People buy houses once they've seen them. I mean, there are people out there that buy houses online. I would encourage any of my buyers to ever buy a house based on just an image online. Because you know that we're using they're using, a photographer that's making it look, better than it is. So people do come to open houses, and when the house is when there is an open house listed online, it's under the MLS and it'll state that there's an open house this day. And that syndicates to Zillow, homes.com, realtor.com, so people can see when those open houses are available. I won't feel safe. So I've never not felt safe in an open house. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I think it's always important to have a buddy that you're that you're sending a message to say, hey, I'm going to be in an open house between 1 and 3 today. I'll be sending a text just, every half an hour, just with a thumbs up, something to let you know. If you don't receive that, please reach out, or let's create an emergency plan if it's necessary. I've never had that experience, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So capturing leads with the open houses. Who benefits from the open house? So we know it's the sellers benefit because we're getting more traffic. Buyers benefit because they're getting better insight into seeing. I think how they benefit a lot of the time is they'll have a better expectation. A lot of times people say buyers are liars, and they're not all like that. But a lot of times in my past, I've had buyers that come in and go, oh, I want a house for $200,000, but it's got to be 4-bedroom, 2-bath, brand new kitchen. It's not realistic. You're not going to get a house for $200,000 that's completely revamped. So how buyers benefit from open houses, and I'll tell them a lot of times, is go have a look at, of course you want to have them signed, but it gives them a perspective of what you can get in your price range in this market. Neighbors benefit because when the more traffic we have through the property, the greater the price is going to be driven. As far as the house goes, the price will be driven up, and it creates interest from neighbors. So those are opportunities for neighbors to see, hey, that house went for so that must increase the value of my home. So that's how the neighbors are benefiting. And then, of course, you as the agent, you benefit because you have you have an opportunity to get your name out there, to become an expert in your in that community, and to get future buyers and sellers. The benefit of open houses. So one of those benefits is that it's inexpensive. The expense to me in open houses is your time, but it's not an expensive marketing tool that you've got to go just print hundreds of, you've got to go do postcards or door hangers, or you don't have to do any of that. You can print flyers up here at the office. What I do is I'll create a flyer that's I'll create it in Canva and do 2 on a sheet, and then just cut them in half. And that's part of what I give out when I go door knocking. The other option is it's a prospecting tool. It gives you a high return on investment, and you get a lot of very qualified leads. A lot of times people that walk into an open house, even though you said you had people that were just browsing, that's a sign that I'm not going to get in my car and go and walk around in a house in a neighborhood if I'm just browsing. Usually there's a long-term goal in mind. And so that's important to remember too. I don't know why they're saying ahas. What are some aha moments for you guys based on what we've talked about so far? Do you have anything that is like, that you feel like would change, that have changed things for you respectively?
I guess I have a question for you. When you get open house, how often do you door knock the neighborhood?
So typically when I do an open house, and I've already set that standard with a lot of my agents, or the agents that I do open houses for. I don't want to hear on a Friday that you want me to do an open house on Saturday or Sunday. So I set that precedence first. I always say, like, if you want me to do an open house for you on the weekend, I need at least 3 to 5 days. I prefer 5 to prepare and get so that I can get the most traffic into that house. So typically, if the open house is on a Sunday, which I do mine on Sundays, some people do it on Saturdays. I've done open houses on a Friday evening where I've done a cheese and wine, and those are great too. I will door knock 2 days before that open house, 2 to 3 days before. And I usually have like a flyer, and I door knock anywhere from 60 to 100 homes. So sometimes you've got to split that up. Sometimes you could do 25, 25, and 25. But I think that anytime you have your marketing material ready and you do that, you know, in 3 days, I think that that's more, that is more beneficial when you're doing it ahead of time as opposed to on the day of. Have I done it on the day of? Yes, I have, because I just had other things going on. But the more you can prepare ahead of time.
And then when it's the home sells.
Well, if the home goes pending, yeah, if the home goes pending, I still will do it because people still come in for comparison shopping. So if they walk into the home and I say, look, the home is pending, but I would love to get your thoughts and your, you know, it's an opportunity to get in front of somebody and have a conversation. So even if it's pending, we still, and a lot of that will depend on the listing agent and the owner of the house. Like if the house is pending, they may not want to do open house. I encourage it because I think, again, it's just an opportunity to get in front of people or the neighbors. I have found that doing something like a exclusive open house where you just invite neighbors, like I'll do an open house. So on my Blue Ash listing, I did an open house the Friday evening for neighbors only. And I actually created like a really classy invitation where it was like neighbors only, come and check out this house in your neighborhood, da, da, da. I mean, we had so many people through there, like I couldn't breathe. Like I kept thinking, oh, okay, the wave's gone. And then I think we had like 55 groups of people in the open house, like just on that Friday night. So it was amazing. But then I had another open house on the Sunday for the regular. And we also had a really huge crowd. So it was good because we got over asking on the house. It was great. I always think at dusk is better. I think if you're doing like 3 o'clock in the, like if you door knock on the weekends, like let's say your open house is on Sunday and you're going to go do your last 25 on a Saturday, which is typically what I do. I mean, you don't want to obviously go too early, but I always think like a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday morning, especially if the weather's nice and people are out in the yards and stuff, that's a really good time, I think, to do that. Yeah. If I do it during the week, I always do evenings. Like, I just feel like during the day, people are at work or, you know, even if they're working from home, they don't want to, you know, they'll talk you and don't, you know, not to be negative, but you are going to door knock and run into like, you know, doorbells, ring doorbells, and people will talk to you through that, or, you know, or people won't answer at all. Like if you could just leave a flyer, you know, it's a bit of information that they would not have otherwise had. Yeah. So yeah, we're just going to talk about best practices. I'm going through this really, really fast, but so it's important to set goals. Yes, okay.
So when you go and door knock, what's your, I mean, do you have like, cards, like, how many of those messages come into customers or referrals or
Well,
actually come through?
right. I mean, I don't necessarily track who I talk to there that comes through the open house, because usually when they come into the open house, I have a conversation where I get an idea if they're from the neighborhood. It's part of like, hey, are you from the neighborhood, or what part of town do you live in? What do you like about that part of town? So that way I track it when I'm at the open house, and I have my open house flyers. And I have a form that I have them fill out that I always say, like, for the sake of the seller's benefit, he wants to see who's coming through his home. So if you would just fill that out. And my form says, are you working with an agent? Yes or no? And are you in the market for a home? How long have you been looking? And I can give you a copy of what I use. I'm happy to share that with you guys. It's very easy. And I think, like, I'm very insistent that they fill that out.
Yeah.
Like, because it's only a courtesy to the seller that you're walking through his home, just at least let him know who's coming through the home, right? So yeah, I don't really measure it. I think what I do, the best thing for me is, because I'll door knock and I'll have a lead on a door knock. And they never show up at the open house.
Sure.
But then I have a little book that I just make a note of. And then I go, okay, well, that was my door knock on that neighborhood, and that's what I thought. So there's two ways of getting that lead generation of open houses.
Do you follow up with all the houses that you door knock on?
I do. I only follow up with the ones that I've spoken with. Because a lot of times, I mean, and what I'll do is, like, let's say the house sells. If you wanted to, an additional way to get that information out or to connect with those people is to send out a postcard, or you could put an additional flyer out there and just say, hey, I don't know if you know, I left a flyer on your front, or note, I left a flyer on your front door for our open house. This house sold for X on this day. And again, that's another way, like, to connect with people, right? So yeah. I'm trying to keep up. I do, and I'll give you a copy of mine. I use one like that where I ask for the name, their address, their email, and I'm pretty like I don't, you can't be rude, but I'm very insistent that that's something they fill out. When you're in an open house too, like, some of the stuff I always say is like, don't be like sitting on the couch slouching, or you pretty much know when people are coming in. And you don't have to follow them through the house. Like, you could just say, hey, have a look around if you have any questions. They are offering a tax abatement, or we have a very motivated seller here, or they're offering a carpeting allowance. Just little things like that you could say. And then once they've walked through, we just say, well, we'd love to have your feedback, the seller. And then there's a little, what do you think about the house? And they'll say fair, or, whatever they think and what they're looking for. And then that's my lead generation. So then I take that form on Monday morning, and immediately I start responding. And I go, thank you for coming through that. And I'll, like, sometimes when you talk to those people, you have to make notes too. Like, if they say, yeah, I've got an older dog and I'm looking for hardwood floors, or whatever their story is. I make notes of those things so that when you connect with them, that's an excuse to like actually talk to them about what they talk to you about, and shows that you were paying attention. So when I follow up on Monday morning, it's like, thanks for coming through the open house. I know it's hard with an older dog. I have 2 of those. I understand what that life looks like, and I would love to help you in the future and be a source of an advisor, really, and a support for them. And so, yep.
Do you ever get like, step one rights or not give information? I mean, what do you, this and no, I'm not giving you my information. Oh, yeah, I'm just trying to get, it's just, from the seller.
Yeah, I mean, some people will say I'm not giving information, and I just say as a courtesy to the seller, we won't, if you request that we don't contact you, we won't contact you. And sometimes they won't give you their email address or their phone number. They'll just put their name. I kind of just, I don't want to push it. You know what I mean? But they're kind of rare. I don't really get that very much, I must say. So, yeah, there's stuff on there that you could just say, like, I won't, if you don't want me to contact you or connect with you in any way, I'm happy to. Just leave that here. I'm way behind on that. So I guess setting goals, and your goal could be, I'm going to do 2 open houses this month, or I'm going to do an open house every weekend. I mean, and there's some people that they have that, I don't know if anybody's read the book, The One Thing, but everybody has a one thing that works the best for them. And if that's your focus on that, because that's what's going to get you the kind of leads that you're looking for. So setting those goals is important. Just be purposeful. Just say, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to reach out to agents. Now, like, I don't know if you got that answer that you asked about answered. Okay. I need to ask about it, because that's not, so Kendall said yesterday, she was curious about whether we could do open houses for other brokerages. I don't know what that answer is. I need to get clarity on that. But that's an important question to answer. A lot of times, our very successful agents that already have plenty of leads coming in do not want to sit and do an open house. They don't want to do it, even though that's probably part of their marketing plan and it's what they've promised the seller. They don't want to do it. They want somebody else to do it for them, because their time is more valuable to them. So that's something to think about. So pick the house. Okay, that's important. Like pick the house that somebody has said, okay, well, this is the house that we're wanting you to sit in, and be observant of, like, do some study on the neighborhood, what the school district is, what the it helps to be knowledgeable and to be ahead of what's going on in the community, how that community is growing. If there's a new school coming up, or there's a new department that's being developed, like, that puts you ahead of 90% of the other agents who just put a sign in the yard and walk in and just go, hey, welcome to the open house. If you can share, if you have knowledge to share with people, it shows that you're ahead of the game. Then prepare and practice. So that's something too. You could have a lender, or you could have there's different ways to hold open houses. Some people they have an ice cream truck, they have, and they invite the neighborhood with the kids. Or mine was a cheese and wine. So I did like a charcuterie with cheese and wine. It was a huge hit, because it wasn't like, the benefit of that was there was no, like, all the vegetarians could eat it, and all the, everybody could eat it. So it worked out well. You can have an inspector coming in, to your open house. You can connect with an inspector and say, hey, like, how can we collaborate work-wise and get like the best kind of um, interest in this home? And that could be part of what you're marketing. And just, when you're handing out your flyers, you could say, like I said, there's a cheese and wine. A lot of times I'll bake and I'll make like fresh, cookies or fresh um, um, muffins or something like that. And I advertise that, like I do chocolate eclairs a lot. And people come in just for the chocolate eclair because I put that on the flyer. And people will come in just to talk to an inspector or a lender, just to get an idea. So you're getting them through the door. So that's something that's very important to think about. Again, we talked about the time. So there's different times you can do it. People often have open houses during the week. When I do a listing, I typically have a coming soon, and then the day that the coming soon, the property goes live, if it's my listing, that night is usually when I have my cheese and wine. And I just feel like it brings people, if it's a Friday night too, that works really well. Because Friday nights, people, when they make plans for the weekend, they'll make plans on a Saturday or on a Sunday, but Friday nights, people are usually home. And so if it's a good neighborhood, they'll be like, let's go walk over to that house and go check it out. And you can negotiate that too with your seller sometimes, or your listing agent. Sometimes they want you to do a Saturday, sometimes they want you to do a Sunday. Well, my boards are all printed 1 to 3 p.m. on a Sunday. Like they're all printed like that. So I prefer to do that. If they want another time, then I have to go in and change that, which I'll do, but yeah, just pick a time that works. Of course, that's got to be communicated. Know your market. We talked about that. And then use the buddy system. We talked about being safe. Always arrive early. Check all the entrances. Make sure your cell phone's charged. Turn on all the lights. Check your COVID. Oh, this is old because this is asking for COVID guidelines, but I guess you could still check for those. And yeah, just there's like a market center guideline too that you can find that just like, just make sure that the counters are clean. And it always helps to show up early because that shows that you're prepared and ready. A lot of times, open houses, and I learned this the hard way, toilet paper. If you're going to use glue, like there's not always toilet paper. So have a roll of toilet paper in your car. I have a card table that I use at home because a lot of times, and like a fold-up chair, we go into houses that have no furniture. Now I always ask that because it could look like there's furniture if it's virtually staged, but there may be no furniture. So if you're willing to just stand all 2 hours, that's fine, but I'm not. So I have my laptop set up and my board set up. So those are just little things to prepare you better for that.
You make people take off their shoes at the open house, and probably the village, but I was completely empty in all of our floors. But she had a sign that was like, please take off shoes and put on the booties. And
Yeah.
Mike was like, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like how that could become an issue is if somebody comes in with muddy feet and they're not conscientious about it. So that would be on you and that onus to clean that up. I feel like if I don't do that, then I have a responsibility to at least mop the floors or make sure that it's in the same condition it was before. I'm not a stickler about it, but I think Ultra Court was like that too. And it's kind of like, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes people are really willing. If they're not, I just have one of those little Swiffers near me. If there's new carpeting like that, then I'll say, this is brand new carpet. Like, and sometimes you'll have like those sticky, pathways that go up the stairs and stuff, and that helps. And then I'm not so pushy about it. But if there isn't any of that, then I'll be like, hey, the seller just requires. But then also you can't have shoes on. You know what I mean? Then you've got to be like, you're asking them to do it, but you're walking around in your shoes and it doesn't look, obviously. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think so many of them never.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if it was like a new practice, and I've sold houses that we covered it, and we do the practice, or we cover it almost.
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
with The
The
lining.
line.
But we never asked, even on, in our open houses, to. I just didn't know
Yeah,
if
it's
they
like a
knew.
case by case basis. I think if it's a, like, I don't like to redline or anything, but typically Asian or Indian homes are pretty, I think some of that is part of their culture too. So that may have something to do
Oh,
with
I
it.
don't like it on my house.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
live there, like, it's
Right.
empty.
right, right.
I just wondered.
A lot of cases, some of the quick.
Right. Right. Well, I hate taking my shoes off at somebody else's house. Now, when I get home, that's the first thing I kick off. I hate shoes. I really do. But I don't like going to somebody else's house without shoes on. I'm way behind because this says I'm only on page, I don't know, there's 253
It's
pages.
long
I know.
chapter,
I feel like we're saying the same thing again and again.
but
Yeah. Like they say, most of the open houses is done before the day of the open house. Prepare your mindset and practice your conversations. I mean, I would beg to challenge that a little bit because I don't think most of it's done the day before. I feel like to have a successful open house, you need to really be planning 5 days to a week before, to get the kind of traffic and the kind of, results that you're looking for from an open house. Doing it the day before is not going to benefit you in any way. I don't think, personally. I've tried it. It doesn't work. So here, yeah. So now here they're saying week before the open house, select the house, post online. So yeah, once I've created a Canva flyer, I will post it on Facebook Marketplace. If you can be part of the neighborhood group for that neighborhood, or if you're already a part of it, some of them they'll have like a moderator that will allow the post and some won't. Sometimes I just post it just to see if they're going to accept it or not, but that's beneficial too, to join the Facebook groups of the neighborhoods you're in. So if you're in Anderson Township, now sometimes when you join those groups, they want to know, do you live in the neighborhood? And you can say yes, and you could throw an address out there, but they'll look you up too, and then they won't let you in. So, and some of them are like, there's groups that they don't have any requirements, like Oakley Hyde Park, there's a mom's group, and there's an Oakley Hyde Park no rules group. And so there's all kinds of groups that you could join. There's a real estate open house group on Facebook. There's Cincinnati houses for sale on Facebook. Like any platform that you could post that on before your open house is an opportunity to send people to the front door.
The Oakland Moms Group, I will say, is exclusively female.
Yeah, right.
If
Right.
there's a guy in there, I'm always like, what is?
I know.
And most of the women are like.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Right.
Because it's a mom's group.
Right.
They need to talk about all sorts of things. And it's like.
Well, and think about it this way, if you're not salesy, which I try to always avoid being salesy, but you could go into these groups and say, hey, like, I'm holding an open house for a friend, and I would just like to get feedback on what you guys would like to see in an open house, and just make it a casual post like that. And people will respond. And those are people you could reach out to and say, hey, this is what I loved your idea. This is what I'm doing for the open house. Like, things like that. Like, what would be something that families would like to see in their neighborhood? We have an open house, you know. A lot of these agents, like on the Pivot Shift Ahead, I mean, I haven't gone down that road yet, but I hear about, and obviously they're very high volume agents making a lot of, but they do ice cream trucks and they do, I mean, the extent that they go to is like phenomenal, but it's almost like they set a precedent and people know when so-and-so does her open house, like it's something worth going to see and do, you know, something fun.
We lost yesterday, and we voted for the guy who put a boxing ring out. Set up a boxing ring in the backyard of another house.
Really?
For like 66 hours. And all kinds of people show up, brought lawn chairs.
Oh, wow.
you know.
Well, I
Like
mean,
wrestling at the-
I bet he sold the house. I bet the house got sold. Yeah.
And then I think he's partnered with the Alzheimer's Association.
Yeah.
So he's like kind of promoting that too.
And you know, they say that a lot, like if you're doing something like, even like with an event, if you're doing an event, like when I do I do like a paint and sip event with my clients. When you're partnering with somebody where you're saying like the proceeds of this event, you know, because I'm not in it for profit, I'm in it for lead generation. So I'll say the proceeds of this event, because I usually have them just cover the costs. I'm not going to make any profit. But the proceeds of this event, 10% of that's going to go to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. So that also shows that you're a community-oriented person, and that will draw people to you. Post online, install yard signs. The only tip that I have about installing yard signs, and we talked about this yesterday, like I've lost a lot of signs because we install the signs on the sidewalks. And technically, that belongs to the city. And so some cities have ordinances and rules about posting open house signs, and they get pissed off. Mark Reeves is one of them in Norwood, and he'll literally go drive around. I mean, he's the building inspector there. He doesn't, that's such a like insignificant thing for him to do, but it's like his pet peeve. So he drives around and literally rips the signs out of if they're on the sidewalk, rips them out of the ground and throws them in the trash. He's done it to me personally. So I speak from experience. So the best way to work around that, and again, it's another opportunity to talk to people, is instead of putting your sign on the sidewalk, ask somebody if you could put it in their yard. Obviously, don't just go stick it in their yard. Just say, hey, I have an open house down the street. Would you mind if I put a sign in your yard? I'll be pulling it up at 4 o'clock when the open house is over. Because technically then they cannot pull the sign out of the yard.
So it's a sign promoting.
Yes.
It's not a house for sale sign.
No, it's an open house sign. It's like a pointer board, right? There's all different kinds. Mine is like this big. It's white. It's got a big red arrow, and it's got big black letters that says open house, and then it says the time. And the arrows point to, like, if you're going to turn on that road, but I have lost many a sign because like HOAs and, you know, like Ultra Court, I lost some there because they didn't like it on their property, so they pulled it up, you know. You can sometimes go back and retrieve them, which I've been able to do. I have done that. But that's just something to be mindful.
Is your name or phone number on that?
My name or phone number is not on them. And so moving forward, when I do my new batch, that's probably what I'm going to do.
Oh.
Yeah, because I feel like they don't, I mean, it says Keller Williams 7 Hills, and it's got the fair housing logo, the 2 logos that are required. So they would know, like, if they wanted to, but I guess the people pulling it up a lot, like, they don't care about finding who you are. They're just gonna trash it. So that's important to remember.
Staple a couple business cards.
You can.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I install a yard sign too. So I have one that's like they're like $25 on Amazon. They cost nothing, but they're like those, you know, those flags that are kind of like a curve like that. And you can stick those in the ground, and you can stick that in the ground, the property that you have the open house at. And typically, you know, when you have your rider up on your board, you know, there's a red sign that'll say open house and your time, and then you can have an open house flag. And, you know, I'll do that a few days before the open house, just so that people driving by see that there's going to be an open house. Thursday, post online again, invite your database, we've got KW7H Facebook page. We could advertise, we could post it on there and just say, hey, if anybody's got a buyer, I've got an open house this Saturday from this and this time, come see me. Again, just posting online, doing a video of the house. Like if you could do that beforehand. I find if I try to do it the day of, I'm not very good with video and social media on that level. So I have to plan it. But once I've made a video and I've done like a little walkthrough of the house, if I post that on the day of the open house, like on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, that's another way to bring people to the house. Print flyers, door knock. We talked about this, what clients like to know. They want to know about community, neighborhood information, relocation information, first-time buyer specifics. So you could have a lender provide you with flyers on first-time buyers and have that ready. Mortgage information, interest rates, that kind of stuff. Be prepared for that. Build trust and support. We talked about that, providing value, capture information, quality leads. By building trust and support, we become neighborhood advisors. So we know about the neighborhood and we've done our research. We know that, Anderson Township, the schools in this area are fantastic and it's in very high demand. A lot of people want to get the kids in school. So those are things that, you can start conversations over. I always say greet somebody when they come in the door with a friendly smile, be positive, don't say anything negative about the house. If there's negative issues, they'll see them, that's what inspection reports is about. So just engage in conversation, just be friendly. Hi, what brings you out today? And then provide value, know the team stats, like know about the market. If the house has been on the market for 30 days and somebody comes in and says, well, why has the house been on the market that long? Know those answers. Like know that maybe it's been on the market because we've seen a market shift. Maybe it was a little overpriced at first. Maybe, there's a lot of reasons that a house could be on the market for a longer period of time. Know the statistics of that market. There's a very easy way to find that on MLS. I always go into the interactive map. I type in the address, and you can draw a circle around however you want, however big or small you want the radius to be. It could be a quarter-mile radius, and it'll show you everything that's sold in that neighborhood in the last. You could do it anywhere from a year to 2 weeks, or however long you want that period to be. But when you're educated and you know that information, it shows. Have something to offer the visitors. I don't think that there's anything wrong with having, like, I don't know, bottles of water and a cookie or a candy, just something that shows a little bit of class and good presentation. Have a sign-in sheet. Some people have talked about capturing, like you could, instead of having a sign-in sheet, you could have command and you could have them enter the data in through command. I'm not as comfortable with social, with online stuff. I would rather it be, but you've got to do what works for you. Some people have iPads and they're like, if you'll just, you modern people would probably, younger people would probably be quicker with stuff like that than I would be. Use the KW app. you know, ask questions when they walk in the door. Just say, you know, what neighborhood do you live in? What do you love about that neighborhood? You know, um, you're there to get, just remember that you're there to get leads and appointments. Follow up again, follow up. If you don't follow up, I mean, I always say, like, without following up, that to me is more important than all the other work that you put into it. If you're not following up, that's when you're losing that person, you know? I can't tell you how many people I've had to open houses that have walked in and said, you know what? I worked with I spoke with an agent at an open house a couple of months ago, never heard from them again, you know? And I mean, they were legitimate buyers that really wanted, you know, investors that would spend money on the right kind of house and flip it or fix it. And they lose, you know, they have zero respect for that agent. They had a full-on conversation, but the agent never bothered to call them. So that's important. Update your database, you know, use the people that, even if they don't want to buy right now, you know, putting them in command and creating a flyer, creating a neighborhood nurture. I don't know if you guys know about that, but sending them just an email once a month to say, this is what's sold in your neighborhood. It's got your name and your, you know, your credentials at the bottom. That puts you top of mind. So that's something else to think about. Reevaluate the goals you set. Did you succeed? What changes will you make for next time? So you can reevaluate and say, hey, like what could I have done better about this open house? How could I have brought more people in? And sometimes you will have open houses that you will have one person walk in or zero people walk in. It does happen. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you're holding consistent open houses, I guarantee you're going to have a lead generation too. So I think that's the end of it. Yeah, I mean, that was quick. We did it in like an hour. This talks about KW Cares, our mission, who we serve, plan an open house. What are some ahas, questions, answers? Do you have anything that?
So they have this like sheet in the book
Yeah,
that says preparing for an open house.
yeah.
And it's all these like bullet points of what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is generate a call list of 100 neighbors to call in your invite. How do you generate a call list?
So to generate a call list, you would have to buy those phone numbers, and then you'd have to test those numbers against a do not call list. I don't call, I door knock. So I guess those two could be one in the, do they say door knock in there too, on that list? It's like, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, what are you doing for call? Do you have a call list that you use? And who's your, how are you getting those numbers? Redex, okay. So what are you paying a month for Redex? Yeah. 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 So some people are willing to do that, and that's great. I'm just like, I'm better in person. I don't like to be on the phone. But if you like to be on the phone, I would absolutely recommend that. That's not as much legwork as knocking a door. Knocking a door is like, I mean, doing 25 doors a day, you'll get in shape. I promise you, you will, you know.
And then it had another thing of how on alternative properties, properties at lower price, properties higher price, one of the properties with more bedroom, one condominium.
I do some comps, yes. I will always have, and I don't hand those out, but I have those at the open house. So I'll have what's sold in the neighborhood in the last, and I try to do, it just depends on how much is available in the comps. Sometimes you won't have anything that's sold in the last 3 months, so I go further out, I go to 6 months. Well, increase the radius, you know, but I do have comparisons because that helps people to see, and I'll have those at the open house, just in print format. you know, you could add that as an additional like document. Sometimes at the open houses, you'll also see like forms that where they've done upgrades, and the seller will include those for potential open house people to see.
Then you have a showing kit. Central paper, which is funny because I brought toilet paper.
That's funny. So my showing kit is, and I'll tell you what my showing kit is. Yes, everybody has a showing kit. My showing kit includes a jug with a bottle of water, like a big gallon jug. And the reason for that is if the ground is hard, getting that damn spike to go in can be a pain in the butt. So I always throw the water, and it's literally, you can go down to my car right now, it's sitting here. There's a jug of water. And then I have a mallet, a rubber mallet. And then toilet paper, my sign, my open house curve sign, my riders, like, so if it's like a coming soon, those always stay in my car. And then it's like an H spike is what the corrugated board goes on. And I have those like tied together with, because they can be all over the place in the car. I have those tied together with like one of those bungee cords. But yeah, those are my things, like toilet, and then a broom, if you can do a broom, because sometimes you can walk into a house and it's like there's just crud everywhere. Paper towels, if you've got to wipe stuff down. And then an air freshener, if it's not, you know, I just take one. It just helps when you walk in. So those are my go-tos. Have a little kit like that. I also have like a little toolbox with like pliers in it, because sometimes you can't get the signs out of your, you've got to cut them, or you've got to figure out how to attach a zip ties, or like I can't live without those. Like I my whole house. So zip ties is more important than bread to me. But yeah, so that kit is important. So just things to think about, like how was your thinking change, and what ideas or mindsets are new for you? If I had to mention that, is there anything that you see differently now since we've talked about this, and how you would move forward doing your open houses? Mhm. Okay.
But I do like the idea of like having a week, getting a schedule where you're gonna do Monday, like start advertising Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, going off game.
I tell you, if you plan it, it can't fail. It just, if I plan it like anytime, and I just got to a place where, and maybe I shouldn't be like that, but I won't do last minute. So if an agent says, can you do an open house for me, and it's a Thursday or Friday, I'll say, I can do it next week. You know, I can't do it this weekend, but I can do it next week, you know. So that's important to think about, planning ahead. Yeah. I mean, if you could bake cookies, or even the smell of cookies, like something like that always brings a feeling of like, I mean, the worst thing you will know, like, and I have animals, so I'm very particular about it, but the worst thing to do to walk into a house is having an animal smell, because not everybody's an animal lover, you know? So people that are animal, you know, what you're doing is you're knocking anybody that, and you don't know that when they walk in the door. They're not going to tell you like, oh, it smells like, they don't always say like, oh, it smells awful in here. On face value, you can't tell if that person's an animal person or not. But to me, anytime there's any kind of offensive smell in a house, doesn't matter what it is, it's an immediate negative the minute they walk in the door. So I always like, I'll have ceiling fans on. I also don't like to keep, between you, me, and my lamppost. Am I? Yeah. Oh, well, she said it was not going to be recorded. So that's, maybe I should be careful. But I also don't like to leave the front door closed.
Mhm.
Like I like to keep it somewhat ajar because I feel like it creates a more inviting feel, you know. I mean, people will, you know, when it's freezing cold or it's burning hot and feel like the AC is like really working overtime, then I'll do it. But you can almost anticipate and see when people are pulling up and walking in the door, and then you just go to the door, open the door and greet them. You know, so
Do you ever find that you schedule an open house, and it's being lived in, the house is lived in, and you arrive, and it's like, oh my God, you guys not clean, do you not care, sell your house, like, do you ever have to deal with that issue?
I mean, I think that that would be a lot of communication with the listing agent. And you won't really know that till you're actually going to the open house. A way to eradicate that would be to, if it's on the market, you could go preview it and then give that feedback to the listing agent. You've got to consider that the listing agent's dealing with that probably too on some level, but it won't hurt to have insight. I have been very fortunate. I really have not had a bad open house like that. I'm touch wood, you know. So yeah, for the most part, the ones that I've sat in have been like pretty immaculate. So that's good. But then you've also got to consider, like, if it's a house that's a flip, or it's a house that's going, that's really below market value, you may not have, prime conditions when you're sitting in it. So, okay. This is a success system. Is that on your open house
It's at the end
list?
of every chapter. It's
Okay.
not like
Okay. So I guess that's something you could do to set yourself up for success with, how many, where you're actually tracking how many conversations, how many contacts you've added. They say for every 20 conversations, you would have a deal. And I had an experienced agent tell me that once. It's like, that's a joke. And so I started tracking it. And literally, if you're having 20 conversations about real estate, invariably one of those is going to turn to, and it's happening. Like, so if you actually track it and you count, like, okay, I had a conversation with her, I had a conversation with her, I had a conversation. 1 out of 20. It's like an 80-20 principle, I guess. So it would be four out of 20 would be appointments. 1 out of those 4 would be a deal.
I would say that's- I mean, I don't have anything on kind of it, but it's, I would say is I'm calling people that start out.
Right.
I have one person who's looking for commercial property. So,
Again, make sure I don't know, does Redx make sure those people are not on the do not call list? So everybody you're calling you're free. Did you call people for this last open house that you had? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you have a lot of success calling off of this.
That's
So
fantastic.
that's one lead off of.
Yeah. And what's your conversation look like? What are you saying? Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. And a lot of times what you can use too, especially when you're in open houses, is you can say, like, you can go into a neighborhood and see where Keller Williams has sold in that neighborhood. And you can say, like, we have sold, we, meaning our brokerage or our Keller Williams itself has sold. I don't know if you know, we've sold 15 houses in this neighborhood in the last 6 months, um, and then engage in that kind of conversation. You don't have to specifically say like, I don't have any listings, like you're saying. You're saying that you feel like you have to have those to have that strength, but you really don't. People don't. I've never had somebody say to me, and I think as a new agent, that can be so daunting because you feel like, how can I compete with, all these top agents and Peter Chabris and all the ones that are churning it out. I have never in all my, I haven't been in it that long. I've been in it for 5 years. I've never had somebody say to me, and how many listings have you sold in the last, week? Or how many houses have you? I've never had that question. Nobody's ever approached me. Now, will it happen? I'm sure it will. I've just got to be prepared for it. But as a new agent, I never had anybody say that, ask me that question. And if they do, you could say, I may not have the experience, but I have the experience of a team of 260 agents behind me, and we work as a team to make, things work out for your benefit in sale, purchasing and sale of your home. So yeah, I guess the do not call list is a big no-no. So that's why Red X is a good thing, I think. This sounds like something Gary would say. I engage in every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. And I think that that's what's important. It's like you've got to think about what you can offer instead of just like, I'm here to sell your house. Like, how can I support you? How can I answer questions that you have about the market? Is that part of this? I'm going to skip it. Here's your conversation list. So they're saying make a conversation list of contacts. And that's something you can do for the sake of time. That's something you can do outside of this class. There's some lead generation conversations. I think that they might have those in your book. Contacts and follow-ups. And then 30 seconds, and then that's your. You can use command or connect, and as you guys are learning about command, I know Peyton is a great resource for that, but she can show you like how to tag people in your command as your CRM. A lot of agents pay money for CRMs. We have command right at our disposal, and it's a really good system. Gary Keller and his team have developed this to make it a win-win for us. And you can anybody you talk to at an open house, you can tag as open house person. You can put something in the notes which house they visited, and that way you have a record. And if you want to pull up all your open house people, that's how you can communicate with them. Capture leads with social media. Ahas. I know I'm just breezing right through this, but yeah, it's just we're saying the same thing over and over.
But I think your extra tips are very helpful.
When I do my open house too, I'm like, this is Ignite, and Ignite has certain parameters by which we've got to teach. But if I do it, I did one a while back for our productivity team of people in the brokerage, and I'll bring examples of my stuff, and I'll give you like, places you can call and information that you can get like flyers from, or, because I've done the research to find people that things are not as expensive and be more affordable. So I'm happy to send you my sign. I use a place called 24-Hour Wristbands. I know it's a really weird name, and they're out of Texas, and they're who print my signs. And the first batch they printed, the front of the sign and the back of the sign, even though I made notation of it, the arrows were in opposite direction. So if you saw the sign from this side, it said that way. If you saw the sign from this side, it said that way. I was like, that's not gonna work. And so, I mean, I called up the customer service. They were so super great about it. Like they exchanged and got them out like the next day. So, and you know, you could do your own mock-up. You can create exactly how you want your sign to look. You know, I don't have a picture of myself on there because I just wanted the sign to be sort of bold and, you know, very obvious. And they're great. And then there's another company that I use for postcards that do like very high quality. I think whoever was here for the Susan Lombardo thing too. Like I think the quality that you're presenting speaks volumes about who you are as an agent, and you know that you're classy. You know you're doing it like you should be doing it. So I'm a stickler for like good card stock, quality printing. You know, meeting all the guidelines of having the fair housing and the NAR realtor logos on there, because I don't want to give anybody an opportunity to come back and say, hey, you're not doing this by the rules and regulations of the state. You know, so when you present yourself professional, you draw people. That's important. So yeah, I think this should be. I think it is because it's saying ahas. And if there's any questions you guys have, anything I can answer, feel free to text or call me, or I'm happy to support you any way I can. I love open houses, and that's really my thing. I love doing them. I haven't done them in a while because I've had some other stuff going on with real estate at the moment, but typically that's my go-to for Legion. Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I may be in trouble because I didn't follow the facilitator guide, but
Did you ever get a hold of the structural engineer?
I did not. We're going a different route. So I'm meeting a guy for work today, right now, because they know a lot about foundations and basements. And at first I was told like be very careful because, and I've used Jake for work in the past, and they tend to be alarmists because they'll come in and say, oh yeah, the whole section needs to be remediated, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I heard about this one guy, Jake, that says he's totally not like that. He's on a BNI group, and so he's the guy meeting today. If I feel like I don't have it nailed down for a time or a date. Like I struggle to get people to, so that Steve Hudipole
Yeah.
did call me back
Oh, he did?
yesterday. Yeah,
Does it do residential?
he does not.
Okay.
He only does commercial.
Yeah.
So he recommended Schaefer for commercial, for residential. But I have a few names. Like I got a name that James Harris uses at Chivery Group, so does Mark Rankin. I like that because I'm like, you're showing agents, and so he seemed affordable. He was like, I would do it for $250. If you just want verbal.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you wanted written, it's $500.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
So, is it, you just have like stair stepping in the cinder block or something?
Yes. And it's not a lot. Hi.
You're back.
You're back already? Are you exhausted? Figured you were. You had the mariachi band singing for you.
It was so nice.
Was it? Oh, good. How did your convo with Amy go? Did you talk to her? Amy Binglable?
Yes, Annie moved me off, if I remember
Did she?
correctly, I think, but I'll go back to it. I can't remember, don't quote me on
Okay.
that, but I know that I
There's a lot.
I did something. I did something I was supposed to do.
Yeah, that's good.
But I'll have to go back and.
But I have some other, like, there's some new stuff that's come from that too. And I'll have to have a conversation with you because it's long and,
Okay.
it's all like Pivot Realty Group. Like, I don't know if you know who Christy Caldwell is. She's an agent in Northern Kentucky.
Thank you.
And
Have a great day.
I got like a, you too, great, thanks for coming. I got it. But yeah, but,
Call me in a bit, maybe.
I will. I'll call you. But are you, like, I thought Mega Camp was like longer. Is it only
We were supposed to go through it today, but I left Wednesday night.
so long?
Home last night.
Where was it?
San Antonio, which by the way is a cool place. I
Is
have
it?
no idea. I've never been.
Huh.
It's actually pretty nice.
And we both know about Tara's masterclass for 2 weeks, right? And she got it.
No.
We all
I
did
already
it.
asked
We
her how
all
she
did it.
did.
Well, we're pulling for you kind of thing yesterday.
Yeah.
which was,
Aw.
yeah,
I love that.
I know.
Hey, I need to get Carrie to apply for that. school. Yeah.
I'm just worried. I'm just worried from a standpoint of her understanding our system.
Mm,
Because I mean, I would talk with Tara about it too, because Tara and
did.
Lindsay both, oh, did you?
Mhm.
And she thinks it's okay.
She said she'd be great.
I mean, I know she'd be great. I just think she would have to learn our system before she's coaching our system. Do you know what I
sure.
mean?
For sure.
And so I mean.
But the
that could be
coaching
done.
piece is not a training piece. That's the thing, is it's a productivity coach.
Right,
I'm not supposed to be training you. I'm supposed to be coaching you.
right.
And you lean into the market center and the MLS and everything else, the classes, all that stuff for the
But
training.
she doesn't know the analytics.
Right.
She doesn't know, like, that we have a buyer and a seller. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
negative. I'm
There's
just
a lot for
saying,
her to
like,
learn.
it's totally different. It's totally different.
I wish she didn't have to have a job in place to get here. You know?
No,
Like,
I don't think she has to have a job in place to get here.
Mm.
I think she has to have an offer of a position. I think to get her here, it's my understanding from an immigration standpoint, and believe me, I haven't gone through these lines in many years, so it could have changed. But a lot of times, to get somebody here, it means that a company is sponsoring an employee that they can't, that's a specialist in the field,
Okay,
which she is.
right.
I don't know if real estate would be considered by
Mm.
immigration laws as a specialist in her field.
Right.
I mean, I guess that's a conversation, because I sent her the immigration attorney that's in Cincinnati. His name's Christopher Hogan. I can send you his information too if you want to inquire. Super nice guy, and he'll talk to you
Right.
and give you a rundown without charging you for it, you know.
I'd love to get her here, at least get a feel of the place, lay
Yeah.
of the land, understand how Cincinnati works. And then if it's something that she wants to grow into.
Well, why don't we invite her? And her daughter lives in Indiana.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for her.
Right.
She needs to be there. I
Everything
do
like
think
that.
she'd be really good at it.
You get her in here on a pay, I'll think about it. We'll have to figure it out, but I'd
But
love to get her here.
I'll help support that.
Thank
I
you.
mean, if we can get her to just, explore the idea.
Right.
Because I think the idea was mentioned, but we're not, you know, I think she's probably a little bit hindered by what immigration is doing.
For sure. Sure.
And what's going on in our world.
I would
You know,
imagine.
It's daunting.
Yeah.
So we
Can
could
imagine.
just like hook her
Okay.
and then do the next steps. That
I'll
would
reach out to
work.
her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you work for structural, do you have a structural engineer?
Got one in Northern Kentucky. Used to be years, but thank you.
What was the thing your husband had to get to you? Was it a
That was
personal?
my
thing?
phone.
Oh my God.
It was my phone. No, it was fantastic.
Oh, that worked out so well. I was like, oh, Mark, you go, thinking ahead. You probably were the one that. he
We
took
went
it.
out, no, well, yeah, but we went out Saturday just to have a fun afternoon. Ended up in Loveland and went to the record store like we usually do, looking at albums. And I remember looking at my phone because I was looking at Taylor Swift and I was trying to figure out which album I wanted. And I set it down. We got our albums paid, went to dinner, had a great time, went home. It was probably 2 hours later after being home. I was like, my phone's been really quiet.
It means you have a healthy relationship. My relationship.
I've worked very hard of having a healthy relationship with my phone, but it's so
Because
damn,
it took you so long to realize you didn't have it.
but it's
Yes,
so
yeah.
healthy, I didn't even know I'd left it. By that time, the record store's closed. This is Saturday
Did
night,
you do the tracking to find out
Yeah,
where it was?
right there at the record store. And Sunday morning, my flight was 7 a.m. So I flew to Texas with no cell phone and no Wi-Fi access. I can't use my iPad unless I'm connected to
Oh, my
Wi-Fi.
goodness.
Oh, it was a whole, let me
Thing.
tell you, you can't get a Lyft, you can't get an Uber, you can't, like, there's so many things that we take for granted because we use things with our
Because of
phone.
phones.
Mhm.
I know.
I was like, thank God for taxi cabs. Old
So
school
I
cab.
have a listing agent, but I just reached out to her. We don't have a contract. I spoke to Susan. Well, I can't even have this conversation. I'll
You
come
gotta go.
back. I'll
Okay,
come back
bye.
and tell you later. Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy your day. I'll be back.
Were you in here for Ignite this morning? How was it? Yeah? Oh, it was open houses? She loves teaching the open house class. Goes above and beyond, as you should. But she's hosting. You did? How'd it go? Nice. Did you get to pick up any, like, did you get to pick up a client or were they all represented? Whose listing did you hold? Hmm. And you gave the feedback to Sam Reed? That's good. 1 in 4. I mean, I'll take those odds. That's not bad. Considering. It's not bad at all. They work. Oh, look, I'm still recording. Hello, I just realized I'm still recording. Make it work. What happened? Oh, that's good to know. It's my eggs, my little egg white smell good. Oh my God. I like them.